just trust and play with the process here. I want you to pull out all that orange energy using both of your hands. I literally want you to pull it out. Just pretend you're doing it. Yeah, I want you to pretend that you're doing it. Just pretend. Just pretend you're pulling out all that orange energy and pulling out, and it's all out in front of you. And make sure you get all of it, because sometimes that stuff likes to hide. Just pull it out, pull it out, pull it out, and just keep on going until I've done this process with people and they've pulled that negative energy out for 5 minutes. So we got plenty of time. I've seen podcasts that go on for 6 hours. So we got lots of time. So keep going. Just pull it out. And if it's starting to like maybe move up to your shoulders or down into your abdomen or up into your neck, just keep pulling it out. Just trying to escape, keep pulling it. Say, you're doing it perfectly. Doing exactly right. Perfect. You're doing it exactly right. Keep pulling. Exactly right.
And for me, my arms are getting tired in a way.
Yeah. But you're doing it, and you're doing it. Yes, keep pulling it. Sometimes we realize we've been holding on to that stress for a really long time, and there's a lot of it. And whether it's stress of the day, stress of the week, stress from 20 years ago, just keep pulling it out, doing it perfectly. All of it, every single ounce of it, bit by bit, piece by piece, element by element, by putting physical action into this and literally using your body to help with the healing. You supersize this. There's healing with just using the mind, but imagine putting the mind and body together into a healing and how much deeper it can go. This is a little bit what's different between maybe talk therapy and therapeutic hypnosis. Is that, why let's talk about your anxiety. Let's do something about it. Let's pull it all out of your body. Oh, perfect. Yeah, keep going. I'm making sure you get it all, especially all the hidden bits and pieces. That stuff likes to hide. That's why there's probably a lot of it. It's been hiding for a long time. Keep pulling all that negative energy.
How do I know that I've pulled it all out?
Your intuition will tell you when you're done. And again, like I told you, I've had people pull for 5 minutes, because we have a tendency to hold on because we don't realize we're allowed to let it go. So just let it go. People grip onto a pen with their hand very tightly, and after a while they hold on to that pen so tightly for so long that it starts feeling familiar to them. Then it starts feeling so familiar to them, it starts feeling comfortable. There you go. Comfortably miserable. Now, I want you to notice something. Keeping your eyes closed. All that negative energy out in front of you. Did the color change or did it stay the same?
Literally changed in a way.
See, look, you're already changing it. Here's what I want you to do with your imagination. Just pretend that you put a black frame around all that negative energy that's out in front of you. You're already changed. Put a black frame around so you know how big it is. So it's like kind of contained in a box maybe. But put a black frame around it so it's all contained in those old TV sets maybe that people had way back in the 70s and 80s. Used to have dials and switches on them instead of just a remote control. I want you to reach out and grab the dial for the brightness and start turning it to the right. So all that energy within that black frame whites out. So it turns completely white, a very neutral, calm color. Make all the energy within that black frame white. And maybe it's turning more neutral, turning to grayish, and then maybe turning to white. And notice how different it all looks and feels now. And now here's what I want to do. I literally want you to do this. I want you to grab the sides of that black frame, and I want you to start shrinking it down. I want you to reach out, grab that black frame and start shrinking it down, left, right, top, and bottom. Shrink it down to the size of a stamp, maybe the size of a marble, a little pebble. Shrink it down, shrink it down, shrink it down, shrink it down until you can grab it in the fist of your dominant hand. When it's so small that you can grab it in the fist of your dominant hand, grab it in the fist of your dominant hand, and I want you to lift it up over your head. I want you to throw it behind you. I want you to throw it behind you to the end of the ever-expanding universe, to the beyond the horizon. Throw it behind you so it'll never come back. Secure it back there. You know the sound a hammer makes. Nail it back there, put it in a safe and break off the lock. Put it back there, beyond the horizon, to the end of the ever-expanding universe. That's right. When it's back there forever, when you know it can never come back, when you know that that's true, when you know that no one, not even you, can bring it back, that energy back, that feeling state back ever again, when you know it can never go back to the way it was, just try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. Okay. And here's what's going to happen now. Your subconscious is going to bring you a positive image right in front of you to replace all that with. Your subconscious mind is going to bring you a positive image. I'm going to count up to 3. And on 3 and go, your subconscious is going to bring you a positive image to replace it all with 1, 2, 3, and go. What's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the image? First impression?
Actually, I don't even see an image. It's just whiteness, is blank. It's just whiteness.
If an image did come to you, what would it be? Just first impression. A positive image. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
It's quite difficult for me as someone who is not used to do things in terms of therapy.
Yeah.
I would say flower.
Yeah, that's right, a flower. That image of the flower, there's an energy to it. It means something to you. Your subconscious mind brought you that specific flower, that color, that image, the way it looks for a reason. Maybe you understand what it means. Maybe it's within your unconscious mind, but it gave it to you for a reason. So let's use that. And I want you with your mind, just make it bigger, make it more energized, make it more powerful. There's even that energy of the flower and what it means to you. There's an energy to it. If that energy, to all that positive image that you have, if that was a color, what positive color would it be? Just first impression.
A yellow flower in terms of brightness.
Yeah, yellow. Yeah, yellow. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab all that yellow energy. I want you to grab that yellow color. I want you to grab it with your two hands and pull it down over your head like you're wrapping yourself in a big cozy blanket, like you're being contained within a warm, friendly cocoon of this amazing feeling. And as you do, it just becomes more energized, becomes bigger and brighter. And breathe it in. Breathe that energy into your lungs. And as you breathe that energy into your lungs, it gets into your bloodstream. Your heart then pumps that blood throughout your body to all the places that your blood nourishes. Your skin starts absorbing that energy. So it starts lighting you up inside. You even notice how that image of the flower moves into your chest. As they say in science class, nature abhors a vacuum, meaning they just don't like empty space. So put that image of the flower and all that energy, that positive energy, into the place within your chest that you just cleansed and cleaned. Allow it to merge into the cells of your body, into the very DNA of your body, and make it even stronger, make it even more powerful. Breathe in deeply into your lungs. Even exhale out through your mouth like you're blowing out a candle. Just let it all go. And know that this process is here for you anytime you want it. You can energize this feeling state more and more now. That's right. And when you know you got it, when you know you can never turn off, when you know it can never go back to the way it was, just return to being fully aware, fully alert, open your eyes, and notice how different it all looks and feels now.
Yeah.
Hello. zero to 10. How are you feeling now?
In terms of 0 in terms of calmness, I would say 2 or 3 because the energy had
that was like maybe 10 minutes.
Yep.
That was maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know. I wasn't counting. But you went from an 8 all the way to a 2, you know? And so that's the kind of work that can be done in just a short amount of time. And whether you want to call that mindset coaching, whether you want to call that therapeutic hypnosis or neuro-linguistic programming or whatever you want to call it. And I'm sure it all blends in together. That's what's possible within your own subconscious mind. Again, I didn't do anything for you. I didn't fix you. You fixed yourself because you're the one who felt where you felt that anxiety. And people point to other places. Some people point to their abdomen. I've had people point to their arms, to the back of the neck, to the front of the head. They point to all sorts of different places where they're feeling that pain and that hurt and that tension, that pressure. But if you can notice where you feel that anxiety or that anger or that hurt, that pain in your body, if you can reveal it, you can heal it. And even just doing these exercises like pulling it out, the reason why this stuff works the way it does is the mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And this is most noticeable when somebody's having a nightmare. So if you ever had this experience or you know somebody who has, it's a scary dream in the middle of the night, and oftentimes it's something ridiculous, like a gigantic pineapple is chasing you down the street, throwing rocks at you. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. Or maybe it's something realistic, like maybe a war veteran having a PTSD dream about the war, even though it's 30 years ago. But you're cozy, you're comfortable, you're safe in bed. The mind can't tell whether that's a real event happening right now or you're safe and cozy in bed. So it kind of does that, shoot first, ask questions later, and it'll turn on your defense mechanism because it wants to defend you from the big, gigantic pineapple. And so it'll turn on your defense mechanism. Your brain will start creating that adrenaline and that cortisol, the neuropeptides, those molecules that send the message of fear and anxiety and anger to your body. 300% more blood now moving to the big muscles of your arms to fight your way out. 300% more blood moving to the big muscles of your legs to escape. You wake up with a scream because your subconscious wants you consciously aware of your surroundings, looking for danger. Your heart is racing, you're sweating to cool down your body, all because a gigantic, pineapple is chasing you down the street, throwing rocks at you. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it literally changed your physiology. So what if in your waking life, you started thinking about that test or that audition or that job interview or asking somebody out on that first date. And the mind starts thinking about, what happens if? Well, if I don't pass this test, I'm not going to graduate, or I'm not going to get into the university, or I'm not going to get the job, or I'm not going to be able to start my career. And even though you're not even taking the test, maybe this is a couple of days before, you'll start creating that anxiety within your body. Through thought alone, you can change your physiology, even though it's, A ridiculous thought may be like a pineapple chasing down the street, or something more serious like I got to. If I don't pass this test, I'm not going to be able to graduate or get into the university or start the job. Well, what if we used that process of your mind not being able to tell what's real or what's imagined and use that to your benefit? What if you imagined you could feel that anxiety in your body? And what if you could imagine that it's a certain color? So now we're starting to operate on a different part of the brain. Instead of the feeling part of the brain, we're now using the visual part because now it's a color or maybe a shape. Maybe it's a spiky red ball or a gray cloud or something, a white mist. And then what if you just pretended? You used your imagination to pull it all out. The mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So using physical actions, you're now even supersizing and your mind thinks, well, we're pulling out all that anxiety. And now we're going to, turn it into a little tiny ball or something and throw it behind you. So now it's behind you. It's not in front of you. It's behind you. It's not in front of you. It's behind you. And it's a metaphor. It's just an analogy. So, but your mind can't tell whether that's real or imagined. Well, he threw it behind him, so it must be behind us now. And that means something. And then, nature abhors a vacuum, as they say. There's all this emptiness within your chest where that anxiety used to be. Let's fill it up with something else. So what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Maybe it's a beautiful waterfall, a beautiful butterfly, family. Maybe it's a beautiful sunset. Maybe it's a flower. Maybe it's a beautiful animal. And whatever that reasoning, your subconscious brought you that image, and maybe you know what it is, maybe it's unclear to you at the moment, but it brought you that for a reason. Use that. This is you healing you. You're doing the work. I'm facilitating, I'm guiding, but you're the one doing the work. And this is where the coaching comes in, really. I'm coaching you to do the healing yourself. I'm not telling you what your anxiety is about. I'm not telling you what color your anxiety is or where you should feel it in your body. You're doing it. I'm coaching you. And you did all the work yourself. You took that anxiety in 10 minutes from an 8 to a 2, just using your imagination and operating your brain in different ways. And there's a lot of healing in talking about the issues of your life. You can get a lot of great insights through that. But sometimes let's get rid of the anxiety. So you have a clearer head. Start breathing deeply into your abdomen so you can get that air into the bottom of your lungs. 20% of the oxygen we breathe in goes directly to our brains. So if we can breathe in deeply into our abdomen, get those big belly breaths, so we can get the air into the bottom of our lungs, we can get more oxygen into our system and clear our heads out. Pretend that we're pulling it out, or maybe pretend that the center of the earth has a big vacuum tube up to your feet and it's sucking all that energy out. I mean, you can do that in a classroom. Of course, in a classroom, you're not going to want to be, or a job interview or a meeting or something, you're not going to start pulling out all this anxiety. But what if instead you're in a test, you're doing fine, but all of a sudden all the anxiety hits you. You feel your feet on the floor and you feel the center of the earth. Just imagine the center of the earth, and coming up from the center of the earth is a large vacuum tube, a large vacuum hose, and it attaches to the bottom of your feet. And you felt that anxiety in your chest or your abdomen or your neck or your head or your arms or wherever you're feeling it. And it's a certain color. It's red, it's orange, it's black, it's green, it's white, it's whatever color it is. And then you just start sucking it out to the center of the earth. So let the center of the earth do the work for you. And you can do this while sitting in a classroom, sitting in a meeting, sitting at home, sitting in a car, sitting up in an airplane, 30,000 feet. You can pretend. Now, is it really doing it? No, of course not. Of course, the center of the earth is not sending a vacuum tube up to your feet to suck out all that anxiety. But your mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined. And so it'll change your physiology, just like that nightmare will change your physiology. This will also change your physiology, but for the better. So you can be sitting in a classroom taking a test, or maybe you're at home taking the test on your computer, or again, you're at that meeting or job interview or something. Feel your feet on the floor. Imagine the center of the earth. Imagine the vacuum tube sucking it all out. And this is another great technique to use. And you use it all, and it doesn't even have to be for tests or auditions or job interviews, just life stress. Or the anger, or there's a certain amount of relentlessness to this. And so I can go on and on and on. I know the Joe Rogan experience goes on for 3 hours, but I know this is not what we're doing here today.
I know Joe Rogan never stops.
He goes on and that guy talks forever. Oh. And he does that, like 5 days a week, a 3-hour podcast, 5 days a week. Talk about inferiority complex. I don't know. I do a podcast on test anxiety. It's only 10 minutes, maybe once a week.
That's very powerful. And what we just did was very, I want to say that it was very powerful. And as much as something new to me, it's a new experience that I wouldn't mind doing it again in a way whenever I feel and as much as the moment that I did it, it felt weird in a way, in the cultural perspective, but the end results did benefit